Greetings, Goddess Body Mind Spirit community. This is Tyra Omilade, your goddess guru. Y'all know I love helping women align with their life purpose using ancient wisdom and the power of the goddess centered lifestyle. And I'm so happy to be here this evening. Um, my goal is to make sure that I'm showing up for you all again here on my YouTube channel, my Tyra Omilade channel, my goddess or the Oracle Speaks page on Facebook, because I, stream to both a lot of times when I go live. Just happy to be back. And I'm going to say, if you have any questions that, any burning questions that you would want to ask them. If you're watching as one of the hashtag replay queens, because y'all know I love the hashtag replay queens, um, feel free to drop questions in the comments. I see every comment. You know, I res- I respond to every comment. Hey Peg, how you doing, Queen? Welcome. Glad you're here. Hey Johnny J, how are you? How are you doing? Um, so yeah, I am here this evening because I was like, you know what? Going live, I'm just going to be 100 with you all. Going live is a muscle. And I was like, mine is not going to atrophy. All right. So, yeah, just happy to be getting myself back into my routine. Like I said, once I launched my spiritual aspirant initiation, it was like I had to get myself resettled again and make sure that I'm taking care of the new ladies who I'm working with my inner circle, and now and taking care of myself. Happy to report I have worked out, y'all. I have worked out every day since Sunday. I found this new workout program. It's only 20 minutes. And I just turn it on. My husband and I've been doing Beachbody since maybe like 2005 or something like that. And so I saw this new program that they have. I ordered it, and 20 minutes. That's it. I was like, I can do 20 minutes. I can do 20 minutes. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get back to working out. So I've worked out every day this week. So I'll tell you what, I just did the weekly reading for my inner circle. By the way, the inner circle is open for the month of December. If you want to come in, be a part of the inner circle community, we meet at least once a month, but I mean, once a week. Sometimes we might meet 6, 8 times a week. We'll be meeting a little bit more this month and next month just because it's the end of the year and the beginning of the new year. But I just so join us if you'd like. I would love to have, new sisters come in who are looking for a community, who want to be a part of spiritual conversations on the regular, and who want to learn from me, want to work more than that with me. But anywho, I was just doing their reading, and one of the affirmations for the month of what is this month? December is I am proud. I want to know, what are you proud of? What are you proud of? Hey Paula, good to see you. What are you proud of? I'm proud that I have worked out all this week. Now, maybe you're going to tell me something you're proud of right now. Hashtag replay sisters. I'm talking to you too, as well as the sisters who are here live. Um, what are you proud of for this week? But maybe you want to start thinking about, what are you proud of for the year? Because what ends up happening is, when we um, express being proud, it sends a message to our subconscious mind, more of this, because pride, and we're talking about, the good kind. It has a lot of energy to it. It's good vibration. That's what the subconscious mind thinks in. It thinks in pictures, because a lot of times when we're proud, we're thinking about the thing that we did. It's like, oh my gosh, I just did it. And you have all this energy. This is how you attract more of what you desire into your life. So it's important every month. So we have what day is this full moon? We have a full moon coming up, y'all, in Gemini, on Saturday, a week, just a little over a week, full moon in Gemini. And so, yeah, every full moon, we should be saying, I'm proud of, whoop, fill in the blank. But here we are at the end of the calendar year, and I respect all cycles. So this is one cycle that rules our lives, this calendar, right? We should be taking stock. We're in Sagittarius too. Have you ever met a Sagittarius that isn't like a little bit like, yeah, I got it going on? All the Sages, the fire signs show us how to show up in life, y'all. Come on now. So we need to be taking stock. And see, that's another thing about Sagittarius. It's like it can see the big picture. And so Sagittarius isn't just looking at all the little things that are wrong. Sagittarius is like, okay, yeah, that may have gone wrong, but dang, look, this was like fire, you know? So I think it's really important to take this time to take stock of what you're proud of that you've done this year. Okay. Okay. Let's see what Johnny J says. I am proud of myself. It's been a year and I came out clear and full of love and life. Oh, let's hear it for Johnny. Woo. I don't have sound effects yet. So if I did, I would put them on for you, Johnny J. I love that. Came out clear and full of love and life. It's so many people that are like, girl, what did you do? I want to do that too. So thank you for sharing that, Johnny J. Thank you. So yeah, I'm excited about having worked out this week every day. And I have a new rebounder that I bought. It's because I haven't been going walking, but I was like, I got to get some steps in. My steps are like not good from week to week. Um, and yeah, highly focused on the body right now. That would be me. Highly focused on the body. Where's my little book? Oh, here it is. Okay. If you have any questions that you would love to ask me, let me know. Hey, Shakira, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah, I feel like I'm happy to see those of you who I don't see on a regular basis. Um, since I haven't been coming on, but I don't even know what to talk about. I talk to y'all all the time, to be honest with you, and then I get busy during my day. I don't just record the video, and now I'm like, what was I talking to my community about this morning in my mind? So what I decided to do is I'm determined to learn this new oracle. I've been wanting a new oracle or two or three or four for a while. And yeah, some of the ladies in the spiritual aspirant initiation have introduced me to some oracles. I'm like, I'm about to get these. This one in particular, one of my priestess sisters used during the lives that I was doing when the enrollment was open for that. And I was like, oh, I got to get this because Lemuria, this ancient civilization, it's like Atlantis. It's a lost ancient civilization, is one that my spiritual tradition is connected to. And so I was like, yeah, I'm going to get this. So I pulled a card for us this evening right here. Okay. Can y'all see it? It's called Full Spectrum, and we're going to talk about it. So, Peg, it says, woo, I got to put my glasses on. Taking conscious steps and finding me spiritually. Asheo. Putting action behind the wisdom. That's important. That is very important because it's one thing to have the wisdom, it's another thing to act on it. So good, Peg. Putting action behind the wisdom and the healing I'm experiencing. Ashe. And I can tell you when you start operating from a healed place, man, that's some power. That's power. That's power. Let's hear it for Peg. Woo! And the crowd goes wild. Yay! Sound effects. Ooh, this one has a little bit of a long explanation, but we're going to talk about this. Full spectrum. So these are the key words. And I want you, whether you're here live or hashtag replay, to see what stands out because that's one of the first ways we begin to cultivate our intuition is by understanding that you go with what you hear inside of you. You don't really need me to tell you anything. I'll support you and I'll help you because this is my gift, is wisdom. But honestly, My other my main call in life is to get you to trust your own wisdom, okay? So what stands out to you for you? So here are the key words. Ooh, okay. Creating heaven on earth by honoring the perfection of nature's cycles. Now y'all know I'm already on that. I've already mentioned we on a cycle, the calendar. Going beyond the judgment of good and bad. Now, that one stands out to me, and I'll tell you why in a minute. The merging of duality. Okay, I see you. Beyond Lemuria, raw nature, earth wisdom, connecting to the ancestors, shadows as the fertile soil for exponential growth. I'm about to throw this book. That was good right there. Just that keyword phrase. Shadows as the fertile soil for exponential growth. Mm. The way forward is the whisperings of the land. Now that's powerful. I really want to know, does that stand out to somebody? I want to hear what your take is on that. The way forward is the whisperings of the land. Honoring the full spectrum of life. You can't tell me this ain't Sagittarius. Nobody can tell me this ain't a Sagittarius card right here. Never read it before until just right now because, I like channeling and I like a nice little challenge. So I didn't read it before I came on. I just pulled the card. So let's see here. Let me know if anything's standing out to you. I'm going to keep going because y'all know I like conversations. So I'm going to tell you why going beyond the judgment of good and bad. Why does that stand out? That's Sagittarius. Now, Sagittarius can be very judgy, but honestly, the um, positive manifestation and like the higher evolution of Sagittarius energy, it doesn't describe things as good or bad. It could be a little bit of Aquarius too. It doesn't describe things as good and bad. It describes things as well, it can see the big picture. It sees how everything fits within the big picture. It's like Ma'at also. See, when I make a connection, I put those in here. So when I see it, immediately I know I'm going to be talking about these themes that run across systems, Sagittarius and Ma'at. So, one of the things that Ma'at teaches is, there's nothing good or bad. Everything is working in our favor. We everything is a part of it's doing something good for me, right? Um the merging of duality. How do we begin to merge duality? And honestly, I think that that's what the majority of people are trying to understand on their spiritual path. How do you merge duality? I remember when I was obsessed with like, what is this duality thing? And what I will tell you is this: the more you begin to operate from the truth of who and what you are, and you understand what this really is, this reality that we're in, the earthly plane as it relates to the non-physical or energetic plane, the more there will be no duality. So if we think about the laws of the universe, I want to just offer to you all, there is the law of all is one. When our world is based on all is one, there is no duality. There's actually no good or bad. It's all one thing. Okay. I hadn't even read what this lady's written, but that's my take on that. The other one that stood out for me is shadows as the fertile soil for exponential growth. So I get so fascinated with the talk about what is it? The shadow work. And like the other day, I was listening to one of my teachers, and I was like, okay, have I done shadow work? And let me see here. What did was it Carl Jung she quoted? It's parts of ourselves that we've hidden because maybe we're ashamed of these parts. And so, we try to hide them, and I don't know. I don't fully all the time understand it. I've done my best to really try to understand it, even though I know for a fact I've done shadow work. but it was just called something different back in the day. But I just think I called it, well, I got to deal with my stuff. My stuff came up, is what I call it. Dealing with the demons is another thing that I might would call it. So, um, the other day I was pondering that. And so to see this shadows as the fertile soil for exponential growth. I'll never forget one time a priestess said to me in a reading, she said, it's the things about you that you think are bad that are going to catapult you to your highest and your greatest good. That's what that says to me. That and oh, there's an Odu in the Ifa tradition called O'Shea. And O'Shea is essentially looking at the things that have happened in our past that we feel like are horrible and terrible, but understanding that they are now a resource. Anything in your life can be a resource. A memory can be a resource. Having an idea about something or remembering what you read about something, no, having some type of knowledge, it's your resources. Resources are not all the time physical. We may have emotional resources. When you go through something, I used to tell my kids sometimes, they would be like, Mama, you're just being so hard on me. I'm being like, I would tell them, I'm just trying to toughen you up. I never like push my kids, but I would not all the time try to resolve their emotional distress. I would let them know, you know what, you're going to have to walk through this thing, right? Because once we walk through it, we realize, oh, I learned something from that. And maybe that emotion comes back up again, but it's not going to take us out of here because we're not afraid of it, right? So, this is what I see as shadows as the fertile soil for exponential growth. What shadow do you have that perhaps you could exponentially grow from? But we got to take it out of the shadow position, though, in order to do that. It can't even be a shadow if it's going to allow us to grow exponentially. Okay, let me see here. Johnny J. One major theme I've noticed is a clearing of people who are not on frequency of love and life. That's beautiful. Yeah, we will find a shifting of who we find ourselves hanging out with. And, because it's all about where I'm going. I need to make sure I keep myself surrounded by people who are headed in the same direction or already there. Trust the ancient bloodlines. This is from Peg. Trust the ancient bloodlines. The roots that's planted within Ashe. Don't look for the external, for what is already within. I agree with that. There are lessons in the shadows. Yes. Fire and pressure makes a diamond rise. This is true. And look at that. Fire and pressure makes a diamond, which is, a very valuable rock. It's just this what we just, this world has made that decision about diamonds. Extremely valuable. We actually have like countries being taken over so their diamonds could be taken. And what is this? Carbon under pressure. Fire and pressure makes a diamond. Okay. So this is the energy of Sagittarius. Now that I think about it, it's all about having perspective. And so the very things that we think are horrible and terrible, how do they make us into a diamond? Right. I do love what you talked about, trusting the ancient bloodlines and the roots that's planted within. Sometimes we just think about our family about 2, 3 generations back, and it's like, oh, they were just horrible. But what about the ones that's all the way back there? Like what Peg said, the ancient bloodlines. They were back way, way back there. Okay. Emotions scientifically only last, I think, 90 seconds. So to know we carry emotions for months and years is crazy. It is. It really is. And we have to find a way to get them unstuck, as well as how to turn these experiences into resources and not just something that's, hovering. A lot of times it's about being safe. I think a lot of people do it because they want to be safe, but let me tell y'all something. As a Pisces, I have realized how much I need to take care of my lymph system. And I've just noticed a few years ago, I noticed that there was a little bit of a knot here. I went and got it looked at and they were like, "Oh, it's good." And every time I work on it, I notice I feel like my a drainage happening, which I'm like, "Okay, this is something built up into my lymph system." So, when I say, "Look, y'all, we got to do something to get this stuff unstuck cuz otherwise, it's not a resource. It might be a source of sickness or something." Okay, so this says, "What does heaven on earth look like to you? Do you imagine lush green nature, ancient forests, pristine beaches, crystalline water systems, and all the planet's residents full of health, living in harmony with each other? And yet, nature in its purest, rawest form is a balance of life and death." Check that out. Growth and decomposition, the eaters and the eaten. In one way or another, this is the natural flux of life. That's perspective to me. That would be this energy of Sagittarius. We already live in Eden, but our efforts to own and segregate bring us further away from this paradigm. Power trips, the need for imagined security, fear or avoidance of the shadow keeps us out of our freedom. The need to preserve and hold on tightly only stunts our growth and leaves us drowning in a sea of plastic. The real disease on earth, the barrier to Eden, is in our minds. Life happens, but it is our perception of good and bad and our black and white judgments that prevent us from the grander truth. And that one, I can honestly say, is something I have worked on over the last year. The black and white thinking is something that's actually quite common. It's like all or nothing. And that is a disaster. I mean, that is a surefire way to end up with a lot of distress and feeling like there's not a lot of options. When duality becomes one, we will find Shambhala before us. Before we can find inspiration from nature, no, excuse me, perhaps we can find inspiration from nature and the animal kingdom. And I know all of us know that. Does the tiny frog spend its day anxious over its vulnerable future? And I have said that. I'm like, man, if I really want to know, how do I need to show up in life? I need to look at the trees. This is what I would always say. I need to look at the trees. And when the trees lose their leaves, you don't see the trees like, oh my God, all my leaves are gone. I'm just so sad. And she's saying the frog getting like, man, I'm just scared. Like, is something gonna come and get us? But that's part of being human, our ability to kind of think out there and to create that's our gift. The ability to create an experience in our mind. The problem is that we haven't been taught how to properly think. And so a lot of us have a lot of trauma too. Like, cool believe. A lot of us got a lot of trauma and just all this fear has been implanted into us. And so we end up not understanding that it's really simple. Just be like the animals. They'll show us what to do. Let's see here. What happens when we realize fertile compost greets us when we allow ourselves to transmute our pain? I'm going to read that again. What happens when we realize fertile compost greets us when we allow ourselves to transmute our pain? That's what the Odu Oshe is about. When we honor all that came before, our roots are nourished and we grow with more vitality, vibrancy, and life force. Can we give thanks for this? Is what my aunt says. Can we give thanks for the things that we love and make us happy and we cherish these moments and the things that we don't love, the situations that were bad? Can we give thanks for them all? Can we find something good and or make something of it, get some lesson that we got from it? When we honor all that came, oh, I said that. We can anchor more light for the collective and in turn seed new growth. By the way, Tyra, you look so full of wisdom and light. That aura is so authentic. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you, Johnny J. It's probably all this exercising I'm doing too. But I feel really good. I'm not gonna lie. I feel very, very good. Just since I'm an empty nester, I get more sleep and I don't cook as much, and it's just really a different life now. Wow, this is the second time today I've heard heaven is in the mind. Ashe, be present and aware. Change your perspective. Fear, false evidence appearing real. That's what a lot of us experience. And once we realize that it's all just we just don't have to think that. We can choose a different thought. It becomes real simple. It becomes real simple, but it is a practice. It is a practice. Okay, what happens when we realize the keys to our future are in the wisdom of the earth and the dreamings of the indigenous? That would be us. That the answers are in the geometry of the macrocosm and the microcosm, the nurturing embrace of oneness in Mama Nature's arms. What happens when we find peace within the full spectrum of life? It's crazy because here lately, I've just been feeling like I don't really know how long I have. And so I need to really give thanks for the life that I have, the life that I've had. And yeah, just to walk in more appreciation of being here because yeah, I don't know how long I have. I might have another 30, 40 years in me, maybe 50 if I get to 100. But I honestly don't know. And so here lately, I've just been saying, man, I really need to appreciate being alive, every experience, all of it. Even the notion of separation. This disease can be symbolized as no more than a blackened leaf on a healthy tree. The ebb and flow of our evolution and de evolution is a temporary blip in the universe. This is true. Well, that's some perspective right there. How do we get perspective? A lot of times we have to study something or we have to have an experience. We have to see, actually, to a certain degree, the duality. We have to see at least two different things in order to get perspective. Okay. And so, a lot of times I will say to myself, okay, I live in a universe. This is one of the things that made me just say, I cannot get down with there's some afterlife, but there's a hell. I can't do it. I was already like that from the time I was a teenager, but um when I watched The Secret, no, was it The Secret or was it What the Bleep Do We Know? I think it was What the Bleep Do We Know. There was a channel being on there saying, in all the space-time continuum, if we think about the Milky Way galaxy and our position, like if we see ourselves within the Milky Way, you can't even see us. There's no way there's something keeping up with the little things that I do. Now, karma is real, in my opinion. I think karma is real. I'm gonna have to answer for everything that I do energetically. I'll have to make, some kind of way make peace for it or whatever. Or karmically, I might be planting a lot of good seed, and that's gonna profit me in some kind of way. But I really start thinking to myself, it's like, man, within the Milky Way galaxy, okay, I'm good. Let me just keep at it. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Let me just keep at it. When we think about how, like, there's actually no beginning of time, but if we think about history, that's a long time back there. It's like, wow, huh? It'll give you some perspective, and to me, it kind of makes me stop tripping so much, right? Let me see here. What else? The message is to be what we can, to ground heaven on earth, but not out of fear. We often try to avoid or run from negative situations, but when fear steers our directions and actions, far more devastation can result. So, this is one of the reasons that we can give ourselves for. I'm not operating out of fear. Look at you, Peg. I already called it. I'm not operating out of fear. When we choose to let our hearts lead us away from stories and outdated patterns, here we go, Johnny J. Our challenges become the fertile compost. that feeds our ascending tendrils as they reach to the heavens and ground into light back on earth. Now, you see that? I love that. That's beautiful. So, here's the message: stay out of black and white mentality, the black and white mentality of judgment. Go beyond the concepts of good and bad. Can you do that? Because one of the things that I was just talking about today with the spiritual aspirants is the more you step into spiritual evolution and growth and understand the highest truth, the less you have time to judge people. And there's no black and white because there's just so much understanding that there's an infinite wisdom. But you just get to that point. See, my eye doesn't judge people like that. My eye is like, well, I know this person had go through, they went through this or went through that or whatever. And, yeah, she can just see the big picture. And so I just say, you want to step out of black and white thinking. It's very important. Number one, stop judging yourself. The more you judge yourself, the more you might be judging other folks. Um, so offer yourself some compassion and some self-love. But yeah, we want to move away from black and white thinking and judging. This card invites you to honor the full spectrum of life and find a new way of perceiving your situation. When we judge something, we can create a story around it. These stories often create limitation. Subconsciously, we gather so many of these stories over a lifetime. To heal our disease and crystalline the new way, we need to create space of no story where miraculous healing can happen. I love that. Um, was it here that I was talking about the metaphor? Where was I talking about a metaphor? I think I was talking about that with my inner circle now that I think about it. So in the hypnosis community, I've learned that oftentimes we are living a metaphor. We are literally, our life is a metaphor for something. And once we choose the proper metaphor, then that will allow us to, experience whatever it is that we want to experience. And so that would be called a story. And what she's saying is a lot of times what we have to do is we have to identify the story that we're telling ourselves. And it's not difficult. All you got to do is listen to how you're programming yourself day in and day out. Listen to the story that we're telling ourselves. And then say, you know what? That's no longer my story. And that will allow something new to come in. Now, I do believe you may have to come up with the new story because that's what we live according to. This is how we get what we desire. We have to begin to tell ourselves a new, more expansive story or one that lines up with the experience that we're looking to have. Embrace the full spectrum of creation in all her colors and the raw, muddy, earthbound shadow parts of a situation to determine whether they are bad or if stories you have held onto are limiting your perspective. I really like that. I really like that. Um, what did she say? I gotta put my glasses on. Another book I think you'd enjoy is Waking Up in 5D. Ooh, that sounds good, by Maureen J. Saint Germain. And the more you judge yourself, you will attract to you those that show you all your self judgments. Wow. Me and Peg are like, that's it, Johnny J. So yeah, that's what I have for y'all this evening. Thank y'all for chatting with me, Johnny J and Peg. I appreciate y'all. Um, yeah, full spectrum. And the way I say it is, man, I'm alive. So even, and I needed to actually say this because it's been a hard year for me, like just feeling like I really would love for people to have more peace, love, and harmony. And it feels so disharmonious in the world right now. Um, and so, yeah, to just remind ourselves if we're here witnessing things that we don't like, I'm alive. I'm alive. I get to experience the full spectrum. Oftentimes we hear it's something to the effect of, like, will we really grow if we only this is what the duality that she was talking about. Will we really grow if we never experienced anything other than just good times? Would we really grow? And the other thing that we might want to consider is who said we were going to come here and only experience good times, you know? So, hmm, where can we have perspective? That's where I'm going to boil it down to. And how can we connect more with nature in order to experience more harmony and good times? Uh, Before you go, will you be doing a video for the new year? um, Probably. I have been working to figure out exactly what I'm gonna do. I probably will do a video where maybe I'll pull a card or two to give people some perspective and maybe take a few minutes to kind of talk about the big things that are happening in astrology. Um and yeah, yeah, I more than likely will be doing that. It's so hard for me sometimes to like plan out because I'm like working on stuff like this week and all that. But yeah, more than likely I'm gonna do something uh for the community to give perspective. And in a way, that's why I came on tonight and shared this because I was like, right now people are looking for a word, an encouraging word, some wisdom. And that's why I came on and shared that also. So, yeah, I'll keep you posted. You'll see me here. You'll see the video, all that kind of good stuff. So, thank you all so much. I'm going to run and I wish y'all an amazing weekend. I do want to encourage you to take time to journal whatever came up for you in this video. What really stood out for you that you're going to take into 2022 or that you're going to use to chew on in 2021 at the end. So, yeah. All right. Y'all take care and you'll be seeing me more and more. I'm back. All right. Peace and love. Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.